For attending today, and thank you all on the interwebs there for watching via webcast. Yeah, come on in. This is a live webcast, so those of you out there watching, you might have people puttering around and stuff, and just join in the party. We appreciate that you guys have taken the time to spend with us this afternoon. Your valuable time, you could have spent it elsewhere, but you're here, so thank you for that. And it's really our hope that you come away from this event with at least one idea or piece of information or something that helps you along your way in your journey, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Our speaker today is Narelle Chenery, and she's the founder and formulator of a family-owned and operated sustainable product development company that has grown into really a blossoming international change agent called MyEssence. And having been frustrated with all the toxic chemicals and false natural marketing that surrounds common household products, Narelle decided to create her own alternatives. And in 2001, she became the first in the world to achieve food-grade organic certification for skincare products, despite everyone in the industry telling her it couldn't be done, right? Mm-hmm. You can't do that. Yes, you can. And she's now gone on to create an entire line of products that's truly devoted to organics and sustainability, like soup to nuts, throughout the entire life cycle of the product. And when I first stumbled upon Narelle and her company just a little over 2 years ago, I was sort of skeptical of their claims at first. I thought, really, can this be? But after spending about 3 weeks really digging in and researching them carefully and including, contacting all their third-party certifiers to verify, like I called the
doing a background check.
I was
nice.
Like, these guys for real?
Yep.
And sure enough, I was thrilled to find that they were everything that they said they were and more. I first became a happy customer, and then I did a little referral work for them just to earn my own products for free, which was a huge blessing and a great budget saver. And then have since gone on to work with them now as a representative for an income as a work-at-home mom of 4 kids aged 8 and under who are crazy. And that's even been an even bigger blessing. One of the things that really most impressed me about MyEssence was their commitment to educate, truly education, and zero sales pressure. Like many people, I usually get my guard up a little bit when someone says they're selling a product of any kind, but I was quickly put at ease by the genuine and sincere nature of the MyEssence rep that I had contacted, who was happy to educate me on the general principles and then let me draw my own conclusions, both on the general principles and on the MyEssence products specifically. There was zero pressure, and I was really thrilled to find out, as I eventually became a rep myself, that this permeated throughout the entire company, from the directors and headquarters all the way down through the entire field. And that extends to you all today. If you're here as a guest today, please know that you are welcome to learn from us whatever you will, whether you ever become a MyEssence customer or not. Of course, I think you'll find that the products are amazing. So, this commitment to zero pressure and genuine desire to educate the public on those broader principles of organics, health, and sustainability really comes straight from this lady right here. As I've gotten to know Narelle over the past couple of years, I've come to really love her spark and her spunk and her sincerity. She's a humble but strong leader who's not afraid to be real with people and who has a passion for people, the planet, life, and truth. And it's an honor and a pleasure to have her here with us today, all the way from Australia. And you guys are sure to learn something from her, even if it's just one thing, but probably it'll be a lot more than that. So without further ado, here's Narelle.
Wow.
Can you get a hug?
Thank you, Lacey. Yeah. Thank you. That was really, really beautiful. And I was getting goosebumps.
Oh.
It was really lovely. So that's an honor. Thank you very much. You will definitely be learning a lot today. But if you don't learn anything else, the one thing that you're definitely going to go away with today is eat more vegetables and fruits. That's the bottom line. If you go away with nothing else out of today, I implore you to eat more vegetables and fruits. But we're going to go through the whole reasoning of that. You're going to be sick of those 2 words by the end of this presentation, I can tell you. But hopefully you won't be sick of eating them for the rest of your life. And we're going to give you some good reasons to do so. So we are covering today, in this hour-and-a-half session, a snapshot of this country's, and actually it's Canada and Australia and the UK as well, very, very similar statistics. So we're going to look at a snapshot of our picture of health in inverted commas. In fact, it's not a picture of health, it's a picture of disease, and it's not a pleasant one. We're going to be looking at the role, surprisingly, people don't make the connection, but the intimate role or the intimate connection between diet and health. It's huge. And we're going to look at why we may not be getting the nutrients our body needs for basic well-being and vibrant vitality. So we're not even getting enough for the basics, let alone springing out of bed every morning with vitality to burn. That's the aim. And we're going to be looking at synthesized vitamins, artificial vitamins, pills versus whole food nutrients. And finally, we will look at the three nutritional keys we've identified as being intimately connected with health and well-being. And then I'm going to give you some simple changes, simple things that you can do in your diet to make some huge improvements. Just really, really simple things that you can do. And if at any time you have a question, just feel free to put your hand up and we can address it at the time, because we're flexible like that. So 3 of the top 4 causes of death. Can you see? If I'm standing here, you probably can't see that, can you? 3 of the top 4 causes of death are diet related, and this is from your National Institute of Health. Even they admit 3 out of the top 4 causes of death in this country are related to diet. If you can't read it, heart disease, cancer, stroke are all related to diet. We are digging our graves with our mouths. It's the bottom line. Many childhood health issues are also linked to diet. We have allergies, asthma, learning disabilities, obesity are all linked to diet. And I couldn't get the most up-to-date stats, or these were the most up-to-date stats I could get through the National Institute of Health. But in the 12-year period between the mid-80s and the late 90s, obesity levels in the population doubled in just that short 12-year period. So the picture isn't great, and it gets worse. These are the disease rates currently in the USA. Learning disorders, 10% of children have learning disorders between the age of 12 and 17, 10%. Asthma, we have a huge section of the population suffering from asthma. High cholesterol, 15% of adults have high cholesterol. Diabetes, and we can see as we age, the picture gets worse, or our health declines significantly. 10% of adults have diabetes, 24% of nursing home residents. Heart disease, 12% of adults. That's 26.8 million people. Like, that's the population of Australia have heart disease of adults in the US, and 43% of nursing home residents have heart disease. Hypertension, 1/3 of adults have hypertension. That's high blood pressure. And over half nursing home residents have high blood pressure. Obesity in kids, children between the ages of 2 and 5, right? 10% of kids are obese. Like, that is not right. You know, in my day, in primary school, there were no fat kids. There was maybe 1 or 2 fat kids in the school. No, there was very, very few. So now we're looking at 1 in 5 kids are obese. Not just overweight, we're talking obese. And 34% of adults. It's not a great picture. So there are a number of contributing factors to this. Lack of exercise. 33% of us don't do any exercise whatsoever. 21% of us are still smoking, 1 in 5. And nearly half of us are taking at least 1 pharmaceutical drug or prescription drug every day. Cancer stats. This is from the National Cancer Institute, these statistics. Cancer is the leading cause of death in children ages 0 to 5. Is that a surprise? Like, that's shocking to me. That's the leading cause of death in kids under 5, cancer. That is not healthy, that's not natural, that's not normal. Something is wrong with that. In 2010, 1.5 million adults were diagnosed with cancer in this country, and nearly 570,000 people died of cancer. 41% of children born today will be diagnosed with cancer at some stage during their life. If you think about it, the elderly people today, if you think about their diet, what they ate when they were kids, they were eating natural, good, wholesome foods. They were home baking their own breads, having milk from the cow, straight from the cow, home churned butter, veggies picked from their backyard, from their garden. So the elderly people today have a good foundation of health. And they're still dropping off like flies with those previous statistics, 53% of nursing home residents having hypertension or whatever it was. So there's no one alive today that has grown from babyhood, from infanthood to adulthood with the junk food diet that we are giving our kids. Right, so if old people today are dying at those ridiculous rates, and that the 3 out of the 4 causes of death, top causes of death, are diet related, with that strong foundation, this is why we're being told that the kids born today are going to die before their parents. We have to do something. This is not, this is not a joke. It's serious, serious stuff. So we're not getting the nutrients we need. Not like our grandparents, our parents and our grandparents. The food was healthy. It was rich. It was grown on organic, naturally composted, humic-rich soil. So the food actually had lots of minerals. With these toxic farming techniques, producing nutritionally deficient foods, plus we've got the added burden of the junk food we're going to go through shortly. Toxic farming techniques. We're relying on pesticides and herbicides. We're relying on fertilizers that use 3 minerals out of the 70+ minerals that the human body actually needs. Producing reduced nutritional value foods. And we're also, with the animal feedlots, the intense high intensity factory farming, that we're exposing the animals that we're eating to, which is totally inhumane and cruel, and we're feeding them food, we're feeding these animals food that they don't naturally eat. Like cows graze. They graze on grass. That's their natural diet. Grass and clovers and herbs and flowers and whatever grows in the pasture. We're now feeding cows in high intensity feedlots where they're standing up to their knees, knee deep in their own poo, and when they fall over, they're propped up with, so they're not called droppers, and because you can't kill a cow for food that dies, right? You have to kill the cow. So when these cows are dying, they prop them up so they're not, it's awful stuff, and there's lots of documentaries you can watch to get this information if you haven't seen them already. And we're feeding them food that they're not designed to eat. They're not designed to eat corn, genetically modified corn. In the UK, this is, we're feeding them ground up bits of cow. They're herbivores or herbivores. They're not built to eat meat or grains. So this is not a healthy practice. Regarding the soils, I've already mentioned the lack of minerals in our soils due to the high intensity the farming practices. Our foods have up to 70 times fewer minerals than they did in our parents' and grandparents' days in the 1940s, when food was grown the way it was meant to be grown. But interestingly, plants don't manufacture minerals. If they're not in the soil, they're not in the plant, they're not in the food. So that's key. We need to be creating healthy soil with which to grow our plants that we use for food. Two-time Nobel Prize winner Linus Pauling stated, "You can trace every sickness and ailment to a mineral deficiency." Then we have these other challenges. So we've got this dead, devitalized food. We've got these toxic farming techniques that are spraying the food with chemicals. We've got animals that we're eating that are sick. Then we're eating fast food. We're eating more fast food, which is high in sugar, high in fat, deep fried, the factory farmed, toxic meat. We're eating processed food, genetically modified organisms, high fructose corn syrup, textured vegetable protein, this GMO corn derivative as a protein source, which is awful, MSG, artificial flavors and colors. This is not food. This is not what our body has evolved over millennia to get our nutrition from. This is not food. Our stress levels have increased. We're working more. We're sitting on our backside more. We're exercising less. So that's contributing to lifestyle decline. We're suffering from poor digestion because we're eating dead foods. So we're having to use a lot of our body's resources and energy to try and digest this toxic dead junk that we're feeding it. Whereas when we're eating live, raw plants, they basically digest themselves. You know, it's no effort for the body whatsoever. So it enables us to keep all of our energy to use to detox our body. And because we're stressed and we're out of balance and we're eating junk food, we don't have the proper beneficial bacteria in our gut to help to actually absorb the nutrients from the food that we're eating. Because having beneficial bacteria in our gut is imperative to absorb the nutrients from the food that we're eating. So, nutrition is a pretty critical factor in health. So if we're relying on factory-farmed, mass-produced, processed food to fulfill our nutritional dietary needs, we're heading for that picture of disease that we looked at earlier. That's not good. However, it's not all bad news. Okay, so this isn't a talk that's you're going to walk away going, "Oh, I'm so depressed." We actually have some answers and some solutions and some really exciting information, because the body is incredible. We can regenerate our body if we provide it with the right nutrients in a relatively short space of time. Deepak Chopra states that 98% of the 100 trillion cells that made up our body last year, a year ago, are no longer there. Okay? 98% of our body is brand new from a year ago. And on the flip side of the same coin, Dr. Bruce Lipton, in his book, The Wisdom of Your Cells, states that 98% of all disease is preventable through lifestyle and health design. So this is this concept of genetics. You know, we think because our mother or our auntie got breast cancer that we are destined to get it. That is absolutely untrue. It accounts for 2%. Right? We can change our diet, change our lifestyle, and change our life. Basically, we don't have to fall victim to our genes. Okay? Diet, it's been shown that diet switches on and off certain genes that produce cancer and disease. So the power is really in our hands, on our fork. Every 10 days, we are creating a new digestive tract lining. Every 4 weeks, we're creating a new skin. Every 6 weeks, we get a new liver and kidney. Every 3 months, new blood cells. Every 12 months, a new skeletal system. Okay, so if we're improving the quality of nutrients that we're ingesting, that we're giving to our cells, because our body can only regenerate itself, create cells out of the cells that we feed it, that we give it as fuel. And that is what we put in our mouth. Okay? Junk in, junk out. Good stuff in, we're creating healthy cells. Okay? 98% changeover in a year. So you can imagine, like if you feed your body awesome nutrients for a year, you can literally rebuild yourself. Which is really exciting, I think. One important caveat, pills don't count. Synthetic vitamins are a waste of time, bottom line. Synthetic nutrients have effects in test tubes, but rarely in humans. Every large clinical trial that used synthetic nutrients failed to show a benefit for cancer and cardiovascular disease. So this is where they say, pills, vitamins don't work. Vitamins don't work. No, they don't. If they're fake chemical vitamins, of course they don't. Whole food derived vitamins, real food, of course they work. That is how the body has evolved to get its nutrients and vitamins and minerals from food. It's not rocket science. So foods high in phytonutrients, phytoplant, that's what phyto means, and nutrients, have proven benefits in humans. For example, there's an active ingredient that's an antioxidant that's been identified in tomato, which is called lycopene. Okay, and now we have tomato sauce in Australia saying natural source of lycopene. Okay, but man, in his silly misunderstanding about this concept, is that we think we can create a synthetic artificial version of lycopene that looks exactly the same, nature identical source, but synthetic lycopene, and think, let's market it as a pharmaceutical. It doesn't work. So synthetic lycopene, which is this carotenoid, this antioxidant, did not inhibit prostate cancer in rats, whereas whole tomato powder did. Okay, so that's the difference. We've got these thousands of phytonutrients that we don't even know exist. Like that we haven't even identified. It's not possible to identify everything that goes into just a single tomato. We don't know what we don't know. We know there's lycopene, we know there's a whole bunch of other things in there, but when we extract out that one aspect and think that's the key, it's not. It's the gift that is Mother Nature has provided us, that is in that tomato, that gives us the nutrients to help heal. So it's impossible. It's just impossible to capture all the nutrients in a food in a synthetic vitamin, and it's a waste of time trying to do so. Because the food's readily available. Why wouldn't you just eat the food? And that's how our body has evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to get our nutrition from food, from plants, from the stuff that grows around us. And that's what we need to get back to. We've forgotten that really, really simple ancient wisdom. No, it's logical. Eat food in its raw form, in its plant, how it grows. Now we have this new concept of superfoods. Superfoods are basically foods with a high phytonutrient content. So lots of nutrients in foods, but pretty much anything in its whole form is a superfood. Okay? You don't have to, make sure you're getting your goji berries or whatever. Eat food in its whole form. That's the key. So 3 nutritional keys that have been identified to assist with health and well-being and longevity are ingesting enough antioxidants to prevent free radical damage in our bodies, ingesting enough alkaline-forming minerals for correct pH balance of our bodies, and ingesting probiotics to help us assimilate the nutrients that we're ingesting from our food and eliminate toxins. They're the 3 keys. So, key number 1, antioxidants to prevent free radical damage. Free radicals damage cells and DNA. Does everyone know what free radicals are, or have you heard of the term free radicals? They're, in a very lay explanation, high energy particles that are missing an electron, that ricochet wildly throughout the body, that damage everything they touch. They damage because they're trying to look for this an electron to quench it. Okay, so when it bangs into your cells and DNA, which it does millions of times a second, it damages every time it touches something until it gets what it's looking for, which is an electron. So antioxidants are substances or foods that have free electrons, that donate electrons to these free radicals and just stop the process. Okay, so free radicals are generated just by living, by breathing, because free radicals are called oxygen radicals. It's oxidation. So when we breathe, we generate free radicals, oxygen radicals. When we digest, when we do anything, just living generates free radicals. But more free radicals are introduced to us via toxic food, junk food, cigarette smoke, chemicals that we use in the home, breathing polluted air, drinking polluted water. So pretty much the modern lifestyle generates far more free radicals than we generate just by naturally living and breathing and digesting. So the major source of free radicals is through exogenous sources or external sources. And free radicals, the theory of free radicals is that it causes aging because it damages our cells, and then we're not duplicating through the DNA process, the DNA replication process, the cells that we are creating. Because the free radicals damage the DNA, we're generating, or we're duplicating or replicating faulty cells, which is why we get cross-linking of collagen, which leads to aging of the skin, and it's just faulty cells. So we're creating a body that is just getting less and less perfect each year through free radical damage. And they're thought to cause cancer. They're thought to be a contributing factor in all these age-related diseases. Cancer, cardiovascular disease, rheumatoid arthritis, chronic fatigue, anything to do with what we think is getting old, thought to be caused by free radicals. So, guess where we get antioxidants from? Yes! Vegetables and fruit, vegetables and fruit. So we get, this is our food source of antioxidants, vegetables and fruit. And it's so cool how plants create antioxidants, but that's coming up next. But to undo or to quench the levels of free radicals being generated in our body just by living, we need to eat 7 servings, at least 7 servings of fruits and veggies every day. Okay, now a serving is about half a cup. So that's at least, bare minimum, 3.5 cups of fruits and veggies every day. Now on average, half a cup or 1 serving of fruit and veggies just across all the spectrum of just an average. And there's high antioxidant foods and low antioxidant foods, which we're going to go through shortly. But on average, it's about 500 ORAC units, which we're going to go through. I'm just skipping ahead of myself. All right, so we need 7 servings of fruit and veggies a day. Less than 20% of us are actually getting that, which is why we're having all of this cancer, cardiovascular disease, stroke, hypertension, because we're not quenching the free radicals that we are generating in our body. Why do plants contain antioxidants? This is the coolest thing, and I love this information. The sun is the source of free radical damage in the environment. UV radiation is massive amounts of free radicals on the surface of the earth. So plants, they don't have sunscreens, they can't protect themselves with an umbrella, they can't hide indoors. So what do? They have evolved to create their own free radical protection, their own antioxidants, and they protect the most valuable part of the plant, which is the fruit, the food aspect. So, for example, those brightly coloured pigments in all the fruits and vegetables that we eat are actually antioxidants. So the antioxidant that's been identified in blueberries, anthocyanin. Are there any colour technologists or painters in the room? Cyan's blue, right? The blue pigment in blueberries is the antioxidant. The red pigment, the orange pigment in carrots are the carotenoids. So these brightly coloured foods are really high in antioxidants because the plant has put all its energy into protecting the most precious part of itself, which is the fruit, so when humans eat the fruit, we get those same benefits. We get to ingest those beautiful antioxidants, and that confers the same protection for us. So we're quenching the free radical damage in us. How cool is that? I love that. I think that's really cool. So, but as you saw, there's a whole spectrum of colour. There's a whole rainbow. And studies have shown that eating small amounts of a wide variety of colours or a wide variety of antioxidants is far more beneficial than eating large amounts of one single colour. Okay, so it's better to get a broad spectrum of colours, just small amounts, than it is to get a huge amount of one colour. So, really cool thing about antioxidants is that there is a scientific measurement for them. It's called the ORAC score. Oxygen radical, which is this oxygen radical, these free radicals. Oxygen radical absorbance capacity is what ORAC stands for. And it is the measurement of the antioxidant power of a food. So obviously the higher the ORAC score, the more free radicals that food can quench, that food can absorb. So remember we talked about nutritionists recommending that we get at least 7 servings of fruit and veggies every day? One serving is approximately, across the board, 500 ORAC units. So bare minimum, bottom line, what we need every day is 3,500 ORAC units. Okay, because that's 500 times 7 servings of fruit and veg. So when I was looking to create an antioxidant food supplement, I looked at the highest antioxidant foods on the planet, which is, of course, what you're going to do. If you wanted to create an antioxidant food, you'd look at what are the foods that are going to give me the biggest bang for my buck. And they are the nuts. So pecans, this is the ORAC score per 100 gram. Nuts, pecans, like 17,940 ORAC units per 100 grams. But some of us have problems or troubles digesting nuts, and they're high in fat, so you don't want to be eating them all the time and every day, because you can have challenges with digestion and also the fat content. Spices are really high in antioxidants, but naturally there's only so much ginger powder you can eat every day. It's not that pleasant. Dried fruits are really high in antioxidants, but again, there's the issue with the sugars, and they're very rich, sweet, not ideal to eat lots of every day. The vegetables are high in antioxidants, of course, but we already had the Enliven food supplement, which was based on vegetables, so I didn't want to create another vegetable product. Berries are really high in antioxidants, but then look at this. Dark chocolate, 20,806 ORAC units. I know, and I saw that and went, That's good. I reckon I can do something with chocolate and berries. That might be a nice combo. Hence, Berry Radical was born. So Berry Radical is a combination of raw, unrefined cacao, which is the raw chocolate that's been ground up into a powder, and fruits and berries, really high antioxidant fruits and berries. So, and 1 teaspoon, 1 little tiny teaspoon of Berry Radical provides over 4,000 ORAC units. So it's for me, no, of course never would suggest that you don't eat your fruit and veggies. Eat your fruit and veg, fruit and veg, fruit and veg. But, you know, in our toxic lifestyle and suboptimal eating habits and being exposed to pollution and, you know, polluted water and air that's not ideal, it's really nice to have a teaspoon of a powder that can give you 4,000 ORAC units in your morning hot cuppa or in your morning smoothie. So that puts you in good stead for the day, and then everything else you eat is a bonus. So how did I get 4,000 ORAC units into a little tiny teaspoon? This is the key, freeze drying. Okay, so freeze drying, basically fruits and berries are 90% water. Freeze drying just gets rid of the water. You're left with everything, you're left with all the goodness of the fruit and the berry when you freeze dry it. Someone asked me yesterday, what is the process of freeze drying? Basically, water has 3 states. Liquid or solid when it's cold, freezing. Liquid when it's, you know, between 0 and 100 degrees Celsius. 212. And then gaseous form at the high temperatures. So they're the 3 states of water. So freeze drying is and you can change the states of water with either temperature, which we know, but also pressure. Okay, so if we increase the pressure that water is under, we can make it solid. If we decrease the pressure under certain temperatures, we can make it liquid. So the beautiful thing about freeze drying is it skips this liquid. Did I just say liquid? We can make it gaseous. Okay, if we decrease the pressure that it's under, if we decrease it. So we can go straight from frozen form to gaseous form, because you know if you freeze a strawberry and then you leave it out on the bench, the water goes into liquid form and it just goes gunky, right? And it's a mess to work with. So freeze drying is this really awesome process where it goes from solid water, ice, to gas. So the strawberry looks exactly like a perfect strawberry. It's just like this. What's the word I'm trying to think of?
It's dehydrated.
Yeah, no, it's not even dehydrated. It's just, it looks perfect. It looks like a strawberry. Yeah, it's like it's petrified. It's like a I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of. But anyway, it's no glump. It stays perfectly, and it stays perfect. All that's been lost is the 90% water, and then you just go whoosh, crush it, and it turns into this beautiful concentrated powder, which is what we use. And if we look at the raspberries, you know, the fresh raspberries, 5,000 ORAC units. Freeze-dried raspberry powder is 40,000 ORAC units per 100 grams. So we're concentrating the nutrition in the fruit. All we're doing is getting rid of the water and concentrating it down. So it goes from that volume to this volume in a powder form. All we've done is get rid of the water. And looking at this dark chocolate, remember it was 20,806 ORAC units per 100 grams. That's dark chocolate when you buy the actual chocolate itself. But the raw cacao powder is like 95,000 ORAC units per 100 grams. So I was really excited about that. I was super excited about the berries, the freeze-dried berry powders being high antioxidant values. Had you noticed these ones? Olive juice, 183,000 ORAC units per 100 grams. And the coffee fruit, 600,000 ORAC units per 100 grams. Now I've been using the olive juice in my skincare from the very beginning because I found out about that 10 years ago, and I've been using it in my skincare as an antioxidant. But when I was formulating the berry radical, I discovered this coffee fruit, this coffee berry, and I was like, oh my god, so exciting, I have to use that as well. But these two, these all taste pretty yummy. The chocolate and the berries, they're pretty yummy. The olive juice and the coffee fruit are really, really disgustingly gross because they're bitter. Because the active constituents in these are the polyphenol class of antioxidants, which are really, really awful bitter. Now I just want to tell you a little bit of a side story about how these two ingredients were discovered. Olive oil is known for its antioxidant properties. The olive is about 20% oil. Okay, so how they make olive oil is that they, in a great big vat, they put the olives in, they obviously pit the olives, and then they make this big slurry of olive muck, olive mess, and water. And then the oil floats to the top because water and oil don't mix. So that very, very simply is a very, very simple explanation of a more complex process. But so basically they siphon off the oil, they filter it, they do what they have to do, and then all this rest of the slurry was thrown away. It was a byproduct of olive oil production. So some genius, some Italian-American guy, thought, I'm going to see what I can do with this stuff, and tested it and identified this awesome, amazingly powerful antioxidant called hydroxytyrosol, which is not found in the olive leaf. It was a unique antioxidant found in the fruit itself, which is confirmation that the fruit is where the plants put all of their energy into the fruit, all of their special, everything that it's designed to do, it puts into the fruit, and that's why we need to eat more fruits, more fruits and veggies. So basically he freeze-dried, that's the process of this. Instead of throwing it away, this brown gooey muck, he freeze-dried it. So it went from this volume to this volume, which is why it's super high concentrated ORAC score. Same deal with the coffee fruit. The coffee cherry, or the berry of a coffee, is this little red fruit, and the seeds are actually the coffee. That's what we use to roast and grind. That's how we get the coffee, from the actual seed of the fruit. So again, some genius, because the coffee fruit was highly perishable and it was just a byproduct. They didn't do anything, they just chucked it away because they got the valuable seed, which is how they make coffee, and the fruit was just being discarded. And the really cool thing about coffee, which may indicate why it's such a high antioxidant substance, is that coffee grows in very high altitudes, right? So more UV radiation. So the higher amount of UV radiation, the plant's going, oh my god, there's so much UV up here, let's create really, really potent antioxidants to protect our precious little red berries from this damage. So the coffee fruit has this ridiculously high 600,000 ORAC unit. I just think that's really, really cool. So you can imagine I wanted to put as much of these to get the ORAC score for berry radical. I wanted to put as much of these disgusting tasting flavored things. So there was a bit of a challenge, while I was formulating. It's like, oh no, that's way too much. Bring it down a bit. So I think I'm pretty happy with the balance that I've got, and I'm really stoked of getting 4,000 ORAC units per teaspoon. And I didn't want to sweeten the product, so because some people can't have sweeteners, so it's just how it is. That's it. That's the ingredient list for berry radical, right? So if you want to use sweeteners, you can, but there's nothing. It's just the potent, most active ingredients that I could find, put together in a powder form, and then that's it. We sell it to you guys. And
it's really yummy.
It's yummy.
When I first tried it, just as a little side story,
takes a bit of getting used to.
I was still used to using Swiss Miss packets, hot chocolate, pure sugar basically, and so it took a little getting used to. I was like, oh, that's But now I love it. And everything else tastes so sweet and gross.
Yeah, it's amazing how much your taste buds change.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's berry radical, and that's the antioxidants, right? Now let's talk about alkaline-forming minerals, okay, for correct pH balance. To optimize our health, immunity, and energy levels, the ideal balance of food intake is 80% alkaline-forming and 20% acid-forming, 20% acid-forming. Guess which ones are the alkaline-forming foods? Fruits and veg, right? They're our alkaline-forming foods. That's what we need to be eating 80% of for optimal pH balance. And why we need pH balance, why we need to be alkaline is because we're going to go through why we need to be alkaline. I'm getting ahead of myself. So the acid-forming foods are pretty much everything else we eat. Meat, dairy, fish, cheese, bread, pasta, pastries, sodas. Do you call them sodas here or pops? Sodas, snack food, packaged food, anything processed, packaged. If it comes in a bag or a packet or a can or a tin or, you know, not out of the ground, it's acid forming. Or if it's cooked, processed in any way, it's, as a general rule of thumb, you know, that's just, it's not accurate for 100% of everything. And there are plenty of resources on the internet that you can Google acid alkaline chart and get the exact, you know, there are high alkaline foods and high acid foods, and then there's all the ones in the middle that are neutral. So
you're saying if you buy like organic beans or organic
yes.
vegetables in a can,
Mm-hmm.
then they're
acid forming. Beans are, as a general rule, beans are acid forming. Yep.
But even vegetables, peas, you know.
Peas are legumes, corns. Yeah, they're not fruits and veggies. They're legumes.
You don't consider vegetables?
Nope. Peas are legumes.
Green beans?
Legumes. Yeah. So they're legumes.
Leafy greens.
Leafy greens, broccoli, yes, all those kinds of things. Yeah.
So what about whole grains like brown rice? Would that fall into?
Acid forming.
It is.
Yep. Google it. There's charts, and in fact we have an alkaline acid chart in the members area of our. We should have.
We do.
Yeah, it should be there. I've actually put together a chart of alkaline forming foods, acid forming foods, and the neutral ones. So you've got all the information there. So the ideal. So this is just a very, very basic. You know, this is not a talk about. You know, acid alkaline. We could do a whole hour on that. So this is just like one slide. So I can't go into all the details because we're covering a lot of information about everything to do with those three products, those three areas, alkaline and antioxidants and probiotics. So I kind of can't give you all the details of everything. But we have the resources. You can download it from the members area of our website. We have a chart that you can, so but the key is 80% alkaline. That's really difficult to achieve. When you look at the chart, it's really, really difficult to achieve, you know, unless you're eating basically plates full of vegetables and just a small amount of rice or beans or meat or, you know, eggs, the small amount of the acid forming proteins basically. Proteins are acid forming. And grains and the breads and all, pretty much everything. So you can see how we become acidic. It's pretty self-evident. We're eating too much acid-forming food. And protein, as I just indicated, protein is acid-forming. So meat breaks down into 3 strong acids. Excuse me. And we're eating too much protein. We only require between 40 and 80 grams. And I should have done ounces. 30 grams, about 30 grams is an ounce. So, you know, between, say, you know, 1 and 3 ounces of protein a day is what we need. And we're getting over 200 grams, which is nearly 7 ounces a day. We're just eating too much meat, basically. And the meat breaks down into strong acids, and those acids have to be excreted by the kidneys. And the body, in its incredible wisdom, so as not to burn the kidneys on the way out, donates alkaline minerals, because basic chemistry, acid and an alkaline is a neutral salt. Okay, so when you've got these acids, the body donates alkaline minerals to neutralize these acids so it doesn't burn the kidneys on the way out. So the most substantial alkaline mineral in our body is calcium. It's calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium. Where would our body be getting calcium from? Exactly. So you can imagine the long-term side effect of being overly acid. Have a guess.
Osteoporosis.
Absolutely.
From drinking too much milk.
Yep. Hence the next slide. Acidification and osteoporosis. So the medical studies actually show, like large population medical studies show that when we increase protein consumption, we actually have more osteoporosis in the population. Lack of calcium is not the problem. Right? It is a myth that we're not getting enough calcium. We are getting enough calcium, not from milk, because that's a whole other story. It's a whole other day's discussion. So I'll leave it. But osteoporosis is an acidification disease, not a lack of calcium, right? And then another side effect of having this excess calcium floating around our body, because we're acid, the body is leaching calcium from our bones. Our bones are getting weaker. We've got all this free calcium floating around our body. What happens when something is calcified? Yes. All right. So we've got this free calcium floating around the body. The body has to get rid of it somehow, either through the kidneys or through our feces. But when we've got too much calcium floating around, just very, very lay explanation, it gets deposited somewhere. So depending on, it's different for every person. But if it gets deposited in the lining of the arteries, it leads to hardening of the arteries. Atherosclerosis. Sclerosis is just hardening. That's what it means, just hardening. If the calcium is deposited into the kidney or gallbladder, we get little hard calcified stones. Right? If it's deposited, this excess calcium into the brain, starting out with brain fog, we get hardening of the brain, which leads to dementia. If we get hardening of the joints, if the calcium is deposited into our joints, you can imagine what happens. There's arthritis. Stiffening of the joints is arthritis, the long-term effect. So old age, all of these different, that we think are different diseases with different causes actually have one cause. Acidification. We are too acid. We're not eating enough alkaline minerals. Right? Our body's leaching calcium from our bones, and everything's getting hard. This is old age. Right? These are not different diseases. This is an acidification problem. So the amount of calcification in the body directly correlates to this old age. So the solution, as you can imagine, cut down on protein, excess protein, cut down on acid-forming foods, and increase your alkaline mineral content. Okay? Healing, no matter what the problem is, whether it's brain fog or stiff joints or hardening of the arteries or whatever, kidney stones, the healing begins with re-mineralizing with those alkaline minerals. Critical stuff, fruits and veg, but the highest alkaline forming foods are the leafy greens. Okay? The best alkalizers are the vegetables like broccoli, kale, spinach, parsley, in terms of the foods that we normally eat. But there are some really awesome, amazing, kind of weird foods that are not generally part of our daily diet, that are awesome alkaline mineral content foods. But we're going to get into that in the next slide, because I want to cover calcium supplements. Okay, just talking about what is normally what humans have evolved to eat. Calcium supplements, like what the pharmaceutical companies tell us to take for osteoporosis, calcium carbonate. Do you know what that is? It's chalk, rock, right? Then there's, if you go into the health food stores, then there's this coral milk. Is coral, right? Ground up coral calcium. Since when have humans eaten rocks and munched on a piece of coral? Does that make sense? No, can you imagine, like, do we digest rocks? We can't digest rocks. We've forgotten this magical step in between the rocks and humans, and they are the plants. Remember we talked about plants, if the minerals aren't in the soil, they're not in the plants. These minerals, these alkaline minerals in the rocks, the plants extract them through their root system and the activity of bacteria. So you've got to have a healthy soil, humic rich, high vitality, living, bacterial rich soil. So the plants, in combination with the bugs, extract the calcium from the rocks. And then we eat the plants. That's where we get our calcium from, not from rocks. Okay? Plants digest rocks, people can't. Bottom line. So don't bother about calcium supplements. So we know that the leafy greens are the highest alkaline mineral content foods, but there's also these really cool things that we're not used to eating that we can eat, which are the green grass juices is the key, not the grass, the juice from the grass, and these blue-green algae that grow in water. Okay, so we're going to go into those. Are we? Okay. Yes, we are. So these three unique foods are super duper rich in alkaline minerals, and so now we know why we need to alkalize: to prevent cancer, detoxify your cells, cleanse your blood, boost your immune system, give you more energy. There's a whole host of reasons why we want to alkalize. We need to get those minerals, those alkaline minerals, into our body. See the theme? What's the theme? Green. They're green, okay? Chlorophyll, this is even really another really cool thing. Chlorophyll, which is the green pigment in plants, chlorophyll. Our blood pigment, the red pigment in our blood is called hemoglobin. Chlorophyll and hemoglobin look exactly the same, except hemoglobin has iron in the middle. Chlorophyll has magnesium in the middle, which is an alkaline mineral. So the message from above is eat chlorophyll, clean your blood, right? Because it's the plant's blood. So this is, again, eat the plants, eat the plants. How cool is it? It's like you put it all together, it's simple. The plants, we eat the plants, we eat the green plants, and it cleanses our blood because it's exactly the same, except we've got the alkaline aspect as well, so it's even better. So this is why alkaline foods, these chlorophyll-rich foods, are... Okay, do you want to do it now?
Sure.
Yep. All right. So greens, chlorophyll, blood, same thing. Eat the greens, clean the blood. So that's why green alkaline-forming foods are good for everything, because we're getting rid of this calcification, this acidification problem, which affects our whole body. So eating lots of alkaline minerals is good for our whole body. But there's lots of studies that show specifically what they're good for, and it's immune boosting, energy giving, sports, rehabilitation and recovery, anything to do with any problem to do with an acidification issue, like lactic acid is, that's why it's good to take greens after sports, because you're neutralizing the lactic acid. Really awesome stuff. So when I was looking at formulating an alkaline superfood or an alkaline-forming superfood, I looked at the most potent alkaline-forming foods on the planet, which are the blue-green algae. So I've got 3 amazing blue-green algae, and all certified organic, of course. Did I mention that everything's certified organic? Okay, everything's certified organic. I don't, that's like just the bottom line. That's like number one, is it certified organic? Yes, tick. Then there's the rest of the stuff, which is it the best ingredient possible on the planet? Is it the most concentrated and the most potent, the best form? Has it been extracted in the most potent way, in the cleanest way? They're all the things that go into the thought process of looking at ingredients when I make stuff. So spirulina, cracked cell wall chlorella, because chlorella has a cell wall that's really hard to get the nutrients out of. So the cracking of the cell wall is really important with chlorella. And this awesome Aphozomenon floss aqua, which is the Klamath Lake blue-green algae, which is incredible stuff. And then there's the green grass juices. So I mentioned before about the fact that grass rocks, right? Rocks aren't on our plate, neither is grass, okay? So why am I putting grass in this? Because we can't digest cellulose in grass because we don't have more than one stomach like cows and horses. Right? That's why cows can eat grass, because they have more than one stomach. We only have one stomach, so we have a real challenge extracting the juice, the good stuff from the grasses. So that's why when you buy a supplement that is wheat grass, all they do is they mow the grass, they dehydrate it and grind it up. And then you're eating grass. We're not designed to eat grass. We can't extract the benefits, the juice. It's the magic. When we squeeze it, that's where the magic is. So that's why in my product it's squeezed, it's the juice. And again, excuse me, we're looking at highly, highly concentrated. So we're squeezing the juice from the grass, 30 litres, 30 kilos of grass juice gets freeze dried because of the water content in juice. There's a lot of water content in the grass. So we're getting rid of the water content through the freeze drying process, which you now know how it works, which decreases this volume and highly concentrates this fresh green grass juice from 30 kilos down to 1 kilo of super, super potent juice powder. Okay, that is why in 1 teaspoon of deep green, just the juice component, if we'll go back a slide, just the juice component. So we've got the blue-green algae, we've got the leafy greens, which is the kale, parsley, collard and nettle, the really high alkaline leafy green vegetables that we do eat. The green grass juice factor in deep green, just the equivalent of 1 teaspoon is the equivalent of 2 fluid ounces of green grass juice. And we've got 5, this is again this concept of the spectrum of nutrients. So we're not just using wheatgrass or barley grass. We've got wheat, barley, kamut, oat and alfalfa, 5 different grasses. So we're getting that spectrum of nutrients from the 5 different grasses. So just 1 teaspoon is the equivalent of 2 fluid ounces, 60 ml of rehydrated green grass juices. And then you get the blue-green algae, and then you get the leafy greens. So it's super, super good for you. And has anyone seen Crazy Sexy Cancer? Chris Carr. She was diagnosed with cancer, and the movie's about her journey of healing. And one of the places that she went to heal was Hippocrates Health Center, and their health regimen is 4 fluid ounces of wheatgrass juice a day. So I was like, oh my God, that's 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons of deep green, plus you get the awesome blue-green algae and the leafy greens in 2 teaspoons. That's the whole Hippocrates health regimen of the 4 fluid ounces. So if you know someone with cancer, highly recommend getting them onto deep green, is all I'm going to say. And lots of it. Okay, key number 3, probiotics for nutrient assimilation and toxin elimination. So our digestive system contains a complex bacterial ecosystem. some good bacteria, which stimulate the immune system and inhibit pathogens, which are basically just the nasty bugs, and some bad bacteria like Salmonella, E. coli. They produce toxins and make us really, really sick. So we all have nasty bacteria floating around in our body. We all have E. coli, we all have Salmonella, we have tuberculosis floating around in our body. We've got all the bad bugs. The key is keeping them in balance, keeping the good guys. Hi. Come in. There's seats here.
Thank you.
The key is to keep the good guys, more good guys than bad guys. So the concept that we have in this modern society that we have to kill all the bacteria is just obscene. We are 90% in terms, if you count the actual cells, the 100 trillion cells that we have, there's like 1,000 trillion bacteria in us. So we're actually only 10% human, 90% bacterial. Right? We need bacteria. We need bacteria for our immune system, for our digestive system, for our, for generating vitamins. We need bacteria. We can't survive without bacteria. So the concept of trying to get rid of bacteria is silly, which is why we've got a probiotic cleaning product around the home as opposed to an antibacterial cleaning product. You just want a good balance. You want more good guys than bad. Don't freak out about the bad guys. They're there. Even if a product is saying kills 99.99% of germs, which is what they all do, you only need one to start again. One bad guy and it starts duplicating, replicating. So it's silly to freak out about bugs. They're there. You're never going to stop them. You actually need them. You need them in your body. They're all over your skin. They're all in your mouth. They're everywhere, in your nose, in your ears. So don't freak out. Just use products that generate good bacteria and not bad. That's the bottom line. So it's all about balance. As I mentioned, 85% the ideal is 85% good, 15% bad. That's the ideal. And when we get sick is when these are the warning signs of, it's called dysbiosis. Dysbiosis is when bad guys outnumber the good guys, when the balance is wrong. Okay? So dysbiosis, the warning signs that you have more bad guys than good: allergies and food sensitivities, difficulty losing weight, sugar cravings, carbohydrate cravings, frequent fatigue, poor concentration, frequent constipation or diarrhea, faulty digestion, acid reflux, gut disorders, sleeping poorly, night sweats, painful joints and inflammation, stiffness, bad breath, gum disease, dental problems, being sick often, frequent flus and colds, chronic yeast problems, acne, eczema, skin and foot fungus, and extreme menstrual and menopausal symptoms are all warning signs that we don't have the right bacterial balance in our body. So the causes of that, the causes of having having too many bad guys, is that we're killing the good guys. And things that kill the good guys are stress, both physical and mental, exposure to radiation, drinking fluoridated or chlorinated water, a poor diet, of course, which we've gone through, excessive alcohol consumption, which is why I had lots of Enliven this morning. Was out last night with the Ohio reps until 3:30 this morning, and then got picked up to come to the airport at 4:30, so I didn't bother going to sleep. But that was like high antioxidant red wine. It was very good. The resveratrol in red wine is very, very good for you. And that has actually, it's called, and I can't remember what it's called. It's like the Mediterranean paradox or something to do with the Mediterranean. And the thing is that they drink lots of red wine, they smoke, they have high-fat foods, and they have very low heart disease, right, in the Mediterranean, because they're eating lots of olive oil, yeah, which is high in antioxidants, and they're drinking lots of red wine, which is also high in antioxidants. But they don't have what would be anticipated. They don't have the same amount of heart disease that we do. because of these antioxidants they're ingesting. So, you know, I didn't feel too bad about drinking that red wine last night. Everyone knows that antibiotics kill the good bugs. That's just but the contraceptive pill and steroidal and hormonal drugs also do kill the good guys. So research that shows the benefits of probiotics are basically just fixing up all of those problems that we saw before, which are warning signs that the bacterial balance is out of balance. So probiotics improve digestion, increase nutrient assimilation, strengthen the immune system, increase resistance to yeast infections and fungal infections, and assist the absorption of the minerals that we're ingesting. They manufacture B-complex vitamins in the gut, relieve symptoms of irritable bowel, detoxify toxins and chemicals in the gut, maintain correct pH balance in women's vaginal ecosystem, reduce high blood pressure, reduce cholesterol in the blood, produce cancer and tumor suppressing compounds, and improve autism and ADHD in children. Now, I just want to tell you quickly, there was a study done on one single bacteria, one beneficial bacteria, one probiotic that is in Enliven in kids with autism and ADHD. Now, it was a double-blind controlled study with a placebo, and what that means is that there's the population of the kids split in half, and one group is given the test substance, being this probiotic, and the other is given a placebo. And the double-blind means that neither the doctor nor the patient knows which one they're getting. Okay? And then halfway through the study, they swap over, and then that one gets the active, and then that one gets the placebo. So the groups swap over halfway through, and they don't know which one, when they're getting which one. So what happened with this study is that the kids that were on the probiotic, when it was their turn to switch over, the parents went, no, it's not going to happen because our little Johnny has improved out of sight. We know that whatever we're having is really good because he has improved, you know, unbelievably so in just that short time frame. So they refused to swap over. So the study failed. But yeah, it was amazing. And that is one of the bacteria, just one of the 13 different strains in Enliven. So if you know kids with learning disorders or learning disabilities, get them onto Enliven. Also Deep Green, I mean, all of the products. My R&D assistant, when I was formulating Deep Green, gave it to her son, because I went through a few different iterations for taste and, you know, consistency and all that kind of stuff. So one of them she gave to her son, and within 2 weeks, the teacher actually called Julie, who was my assistant, and said, "Don't know what you're doing with Flynn, but his concentration, because he has a learning disability, but his concentration, he's like 100% better in the last 2 weeks." And all she changed was giving him Deep Green. So that was pretty cool. But, you know, so all of our products are multi-purpose. All the products are really good for everything because they're whole foods, they're good foods, everything's good for you, and they're potent and the best. So, fermented foods. The key with probiotics is they have to be naturally fermented, okay? Not created in a laboratory with the bacteria strains in a lab. The whole synthetic versus natural, okay? Because humans, again, we're forgetting this wisdom that ancient cultures have, which they all had some form of fermented food in their diet. And that is where we're supposed to get our probiotics, our good beneficial bacteria from, fermented foods. So buying yogurt that's been pasteurized, because pasteurization kills bugs, right? So it's pretty much a waste of time. If it's heated, it's got to be raw, because because the bugs are still alive. So fermenting, so don't pasteurize, and naturally fermented is the key. So the 4 attributes of an effective probiotic are that it must maintain a high and active count of the beneficial bacteria through processing and storage until consumption. They have to tolerate the acid conditions of the stomach and tolerate the extremely alkaline conditions of the bile. And once they get down to the colon, to the bowel, they have to increase their own numbers and decrease the numbers of competing bacteria. So Enliven ticks all of those key attributes. So Enliven is 26 certified organic whole foods that have been naturally fermented by 13 strains of beneficial bacteria for a period of 3 weeks, and then it's basically just dried and powderized and put in a tub. So the key, the super duper amazing thing about Enliven is the bacteria. Okay, so normally when you buy a probiotic from a health food store, it's got to be refrigerated and then they're enteric coated so they can get through your whole digestive system, because we know that the acid and the alkaline of the stomach acids and the bile salts. So that, they're really fragile, generally, probiotics, except the bugs in Enliven, because they have been stressed for 2 decades. They've gone through this process of super breeding where they are subjected to a large number of stressors: heat, cold, chlorine, salt, alcohol, preservatives found in food. So basically, simply put, they've been put in a vat, they've been heated up, most of them die. Some survive, they're the strong ones, and then they get put into the next vat and then they're cooled or frozen. Most of them die, some survive. And then they're put into salty solution. Some of them die, some survive. So we're training or survival of the fittest. We're using the bugs that can withstand all of these intense stressors, and that's what makes Enliven bacteria so amazing, because they don't need to be refrigerated, they don't need to be enteric coated. They will make it through your digestive system to get to your colon and recolonize. And that is very evident in that I did the 5-day Machu Picchu trek a few years ago, and I was taking my Enliven and everyone was laughing at me because I'm drinking this green hippie drink. They're all laughing. But the smile was on me when everyone on the trek got explosive diarrhea except me, because I was taking Enliven every day. And it was in my backpack, in the heat of the day, in the freezing cold nights, no problem. So it will survive. The bugs will regenerate without refrigeration. No problems at all. So the 3 keys: antioxidants to prevent free radical damage, alkaline minerals for correct pH balance for addressing this acidification issue, and probiotics for nutrient assimilation and toxin elimination. So that's why we have our 3 awesome superfoods. Berry Radical antioxidant superfood for anti-aging from the inside. Deep Green alkalizing superfood for the most potent and nutrient-dense, mineral-rich alkaline-forming foods on the planet. And Enliven probiotic superfood for beneficial bacteria to improve digestion and increase elimination and immunity. So simple changes we can make that will greatly improve our diet. Let's just look at breakfast. Okay, instead of having Cheerios or packet food, make, if you've got a blender, just chuck an apple or a pear, some shredded coconut, some nuts, some dried fruit, dates, whatever you've got, maybe a bit of cinnamon, and whiz it up. And not until it's gooey, but until it's chunky. And then put in a bowl and have some yummy milk, whatever milk, raw, unhomogenized, unpasteurized dairy milk, or make your own cashew milk or almond milk or rice milk. And it's like this delicious, sweet, but crunchy, yummy, textured cereal that's whole foods. And my kids love it. Or you can make a smoothie with banana and some green, leafy greens and water, or deep green, or whatever milk you want, and whiz that up. Or just apples or pears or mangoes, whatever fruit you can come up with that's in season. Stick it in with some water or a bit of juice or some milk, and some leafy greens, some spinach. Kale is pretty harsh to start out with, because it's kind of bitter. So get a nice, like even like an iceberg lettuce to start out with. Just stick the whole lettuce in and whiz it up, and that's your green smoothie, you know, in a Vitamix or some kind of blender. So that's some chia seeds, or you know, there's hemp protein, lots of good whole foods that you can put into your breakfast. Make the bulk of your plate raw or lightly cooked or stir-fried or steamed vegetables. Just really simple, and I can't believe how cheap organic food is here. I can't believe it. Cheap. It is so cheap. Like a tiny punnet of organic strawberries in Australia, $10. Yeah. It's $3.29 here. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, yes, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries. Oh, I'll have a pawpaw. I'll have the peppers. There's the cucumbers, like pears. And I get a hummus dip, and that's my dinner, and a 90% organic dark chocolate bar, and that's my dinner. You know, with dessert. It was like, it's so. I couldn't believe how cheap it was here. Even Whole Foods, like, it was cheap. So you guys are lucky compared to us in Australia.
And the dollar difference isn't that big. It's
no.
A converting rate thing.
Yeah, it's about the same. Yeah.
Do you trust Whole Foods though?
Sure.
If it's certified organic.
It's been bought by Monsanto.
Whole Foods?
Whole Foods.
Wow. Monsanto are getting smart. But if it's certified organic, yes.
But can you trust that? I mean, look what they've done in the government.
Of course you can't trust Monsanto, but but you know, you can buy certified organic food. Farmers markets is where I get my food from. You know, we don't have Whole Foods in Australia, so I go to my local farmers market and buy it from the farmers. That's the ideal. But if you don't have a local farmers market, buy certified organic. I mean, I went to Safeway. You guys have Safeway here, or is it only in Canada? It's like a supermarket, like a run-of-the-mill supermarket. And you walk in, there's like organics, you know, lots of organics. You know, lots of conventional, but there were pockets of organic things that you could buy that were so reasonably priced. And I was like, I just stock up. It was really good. So yeah, make the bulk of your plate the veggies, snacks, fruit. Like, how simple is an apple or a pear or a banana or an orange or a mandarin, you know, capsicum or red peppers, yellow peppers, green peppers, put them in strips, carrots. Look, you get cute little baby carrots and these baby cucumbers that you can just eat and dip in, make your own guacamole or hummus or whatever dip. Celery, like, make those foods your snacks as opposed to reaching for your packet biscuits or crackers or, you know, muffins and things like that. Just make, because once your tastes, once you adjust, an apple is amazingly sweet. Once, you know, it takes a little while, but yeah, or a date, you know, making that breakfast, the dates are so sweet. Your taste buds change amazingly quickly. The worst case scenario, pick up a ready-made salad, you know, in the produce section. So, get real food. Stop swallowing synthetic pills that end up in the toilet that are a waste of time. Get onto real living foods for real living health and well-being. That's the bottom line. Fruits and veg. So, as I've already indicated, our products are the most potent, nutrient-dense, concentrated versions of the best products that I could find in that category. Antioxidants, the alkalizing superfoods and the probiotics. So you can literally flood your body with just 3 teaspoons a day is all you need to set yourself up for super nutrition. So your 3 habits, which is what our business is based on, is these 3 superfood products, 1 teaspoon a day. So you can do it. What I do in the morning when I'm traveling is 1 teaspoon of each in some juice, shake it up down the hatch, and then that's your 8 servings of fruit and veggies. You've got these amazing alkaline-rich foods and the probiotics to set your stomach up for digestion and toxin elimination. Or you can have your deep green first thing as an alkalizer by itself, because when we're sleeping is when we're eliminating or detoxing and we're most acid in the morning. So first thing in the morning is really good to have your deep green. You can have it with the probiotic as well, or you can sprinkle the Enliven, have it in your green smoothie, or sprinkle it on your brekkie, or just have it. How I weaned my kids onto it was we have like a chocolate malt drink called Milo. I don't know if you have like a choc malt, but in milk with a choc malt and Enliven, and the kids loved it. And then they get used to the taste after a while, and then now they ask for it when they're not feeling well. They want it every day. And then my favorite is the Berry Radical, which is at 3:18 in the afternoon when I was like, I want a cookie or chocolate or something to keep me going. A warm mug of Berry Radical does the trick, because it's sweet and it's warm and it gives me that chocolate hit. And it's really simple. It's like 1 teaspoon, and there's my 8 servings of fruit and veggies, antioxidants. So especially when I'm traveling, it's a super duper convenient. It's the convenience is what I love. It's convenient, super concentrated, and they don't have to be refrigerated. So, but in the next section, we're gonna have a break now, and I think we're gonna have some food. Are we?
What we'll do is, if any of you have, because it is 3:30 now, and we want to respect everybody's time who is just coming for this first session. So we do have a little bit of light refreshment that we're going to set up out there in that room. If you would like to hang here and ask some questions about some of the information from this session, I know I have a couple that have come through from the webcast.
Okay.
You're welcome to stay in here and listen to answers and ask questions. If you do want to just scoot out or you need to leave, if you could just do it quietly, though, that would be great. And then at 4 o'clock, I know some of you have registered for it. Those of you who want to stay, we're going to be having a session about partnering with MyEssence for sustainable business.
How to get these 3 products for free.
Yeah,
basically.
Who's interested in learning how you get the products for free, or for people who are looking for kind of work options, or practitioners who want to incorporate these products into their existing business, or any of those kinds of situations, that will be focusing specifically on those types of things.
How long is that session?
That's also an hour and a half. Yeah.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe that.
It won't be that long.
Yeah.
This was long. This was really intense, and I was like, there's a lot of information to get through. The next session we could be done in like half an hour.
Yeah, depends probably on how many questions there are.
Yeah.
And things like that.
So,
yeah. So
I would like to address the comment that was made about Whole Foods being bought by Monsanto.
yes.
That is not true.
Oh,
really?
Yes. According to this, all of their shareholders are listed in the documents filed with their SEC. It was started when, in 2011, Organic Consumer Association, the Whole Foods Market, and the OCA met with U.S. Secretary of Agriculture in support of farmers' rights to grow non-GMO crops. Because Whole Foods did not take an exact hardline stance that the OCA did, they were accused of being in bed with Monsanto, and then the rumors started from there.
right,
They
okay.
are not owned or affiliated with Monsanto in any way, shape, or form.
Nice. Good to hear. Yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So I have some questions.
Yes.
Is that okay? All right. On the Berry Radical, which I love when I take, I didn't bring it with me. I'm on vacation. I'm feeling it. I have to say, I'm not having it. When you put the Berry Radical in hot water, does that alter the chemical composition of the antioxidants? I know you're very careful about the deep freeze to preserve the integrity.
To preserve it, yes.
Yeah. So if you put it in hot water, will the heat of the hot water change the chemical composition?
Doesn't change the chemical composition, but the things that affect antioxidants are heat and oxygen and light. So We recommend like not using boiling straight off the tap water, straight off the boiled water. So just let it sit for a minute or so and add the milk or you know whatever you're using, add it quickly and then drink it quickly, because it's time that a long period of time in heat is going to reduce the antioxidant potency. But yeah, I mean, I have it hot every day, and I've actually had it tested. We did a clinical trial, like a live blood analysis clinical trial with a number of staff, a year or so ago, and they were all having the berry radical hot, and we had incredible results with having it hot. So I'm confident that you're still getting the potency and the benefits of the antioxidants even when you're making a hot beverage.
And so when you just said that you used it as a pick-me-up, is that a caffeine jolt?
No.
Is that the antioxidant actually giving you the energy?
I don't know. It might be a psychological thing, you know, that craving, that chocolate craving, because I love chocolate, and you know, just want something sweet in the middle of the afternoon. So even though I don't sweeten my berry radical, it still tastes sweet to me. So I don't know what it is. It just keeps me going.
But it's not caffeine.
No, there's no the caffeine. We have had it tested. The caffeine in berry radical, it's in the raw cacao, is 6 milligrams per serving. An espresso coffee is 80. So it's a tiny amount of caffeine.
Great, glad. I do have one more question, can I?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I don't want to be a pig.
If I could just pause real quick, if anybody does want to leave, we want you to feel free. You can use that door there. So if anybody's...
Oh, this one? Yeah. It's open, so it's kind of warm in here.
I watched one of your other webinars when I've been at work for 3 months, so I've just been like
sucking it all up.
Oh my gosh, you don't even know.
Yep.
Why are you so tired at the end of the day? Because I've been reading all this, I mean, just ravenous, and I thank you.
Awesome.
For providing all that information. It's unbelievable to me. So
thank you.
Why do you, and I was thrilled about the comment you made about osteoporosis not really being a disease of not having enough calcium, but not having enough greens and your body having to leach the calcium because we're so acidic.
Mm-hmm.
So you might not know the answer. Why do you think the medical community hasn't said, you know, really we got to stop pushing the calcium supplements that are chalk and rock? You think
it's not the medical community, it's the Dairy Council. And as long as there's money coming in from the Dairy Council, there will always be milk pushed as a calcium need.
But also the calcium supplements that are, you know, rock-based, mm-hmm. which are, interestingly, since they've been adding, because there's problems with the effectiveness of calcium supplements, and it's actually they're now recognizing the vitamin D3 that they're adding to the calcium is actually helping osteo. You know, that's what's actually helping. It's not the calcium. It's not the chalk and the rock that's actually beneficial. In fact, that chalk rock stuff is detrimental to our health because it's contributing to this free floating calcium that deposits in our arteries and brains and kidneys and joints and forming arthritis and the calcification. So it's the vitamin D3, which is the sunlight vitamin, is actually beneficial for osteoporosis and not so much the calcium. But they keep that quiet.
They really do, and I had such an aha moment when I said, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense.
Yeah. Cool.
I have a question. If there were any studies that had been done with any of these products for women with menopause, a lot of women tend to go on those artificial synthetic hormone replacement methods with their doctors, and have there already been any studies been done to see if the products help ease that?
I'm not aware. Except for the studies done on probiotics and ameliorating menopausal symptoms, like having a beneficial bacteria lessens the menopausal symptoms. But it's something that I'd be happy to look into, the benefits of greens and antioxidants and probiotics on menopausal symptoms. That's probably an opening for looking at some studies and doing a paper on it.
There's a whole shift in the dynamics in the classes that I'm teaching that I'm just noticing, and we were talking about this on the way in, of the age bracket that I'm starting to get and see. And so, you know, if I'm talking about the product, it would be something I'd be really interested in finding out.
Yep. I've got a little North American note file, which is getting bigger and bigger, so I'll note that down as a potential study. Thank you.
Nora, we have a couple questions coming in from Laura Wester in Ohio.
Yep.
Via the webcast. The first question she asks is, what about a person that works out and body builds consistently? We learned the body requires high protein levels to increase lean muscle mass.
Tell us to Google vegan bodybuilders. Raw vegan bodybuilders.
There you go. Google raw vegan bodybuilders, Laura.
Yeah, raw vegan bodybuilders. There's plenty of buff guys and girls out there that are raw organic vegan bodybuilders.
Well, and a lot of it too, correct me if I'm wrong, because you would know better probably, but a lot of it too just depends. Everybody's body is a little bit different to some extent, and some people need
plants,
different things.
Plant foods have protein. They all have protein. And in fact, meat, the protein in meat, when you cook meat, it makes it super difficult to absorb because it's the amino acids that are the protein, the combination of the amino acids that the body uses to create protein. Meat is a protein and the body has to break it down into its individual amino acids, and when you cook meat, the body can't break it down into the individual amino acids, so it's really difficult for the body to get enough protein from cooked meat. Whereas if you're just eating the simplified foods with the amino acids, the body can just pull it all together. So yeah, that's...
There were some amazing studies that were done, worldwide studies, and they're talked about in the movie Forks Over Knives.
Yep.
It's a great movie, especially if someone's concerned about
protein. Yeah.
Great. I'll just kind of go through some of his questions here too. She also asks, some of the foods that you had mentioned are foods that someone with a thyroid problem would not eat, and she's wondering if there is
like the cruciferous vegetables?
Possibly. She didn't clarify that, but she's wondering if the same reactions or restrictions would be applied if it's been freeze-dried and that kind of thing.
I would imagine so. If you can't have it for whatever reason in its like fresh form, you're not going to be able to have it in its freeze-dried form.
I think is it called Hashimoto's disease? Does that ring a bell? It's something.
That is a thyroid. Yeah, and a lot of these too, and for everybody and the people on the webcast, there are a lot of things that are specific health issues. You know, you need to talk with your doctor,
get educated,
doctors. You know, learn about these things. Find a good naturopath if you want some more of that
holistic kind of
holistic perspective. But your own unique health issues need to be addressed by a doctor, not us. So.
Yep. We had a live question. Can we do it?
Yeah. I just had a question. If you have someone like, or even a child that could benefit from the different product, but has special needs or different circumstances beyond them just accepting the difference in the taste, is it acceptable to capsulize the powder? I mean, would that?
Yeah, absolutely. No. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. If you want to go through the work of...
You need to get it in one way or another. So that's, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, absolutely. Encapsulating it won't affect as long as it's, not heated or...
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any problem with refrigerating?
No. Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. It's beneficial. It's better to refrigerate, but they don't have to be refrigerated.
It's not
it's not a problem. No.
Because I refrigerate mine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect.
All three.
Yep,
okay.
That's fine.
I have one more.
Oh,
go ahead.
Yeah.
The other one that I hear a lot about is Crohn's disease, and if it would be helpful.
Crohn's disease, leaky gut, autoimmune disorder. Be putting them on Enliven straight away. Getting them onto all of them. I mean, there's nothing that is detrimental in any of the products, and it would only benefit them, especially the probiotic, helping to regenerate the damaged gut lining, the leaky gut. I think we had this lady.
I was curious about if there's gluten in the deep green, because it has the barley and the oats and stuff.
The juice, the grass juice, so no gluten. Yeah.
Couple of questions. First of all, I was coincidentally talking to my sister on the drive down, and she was asking me to find out about how long she should expect to see beneficial results from taking, the Vitality Pack essentially. And her issues were concerns with aging, maturing. She's 53. And it was...
When's she going to look 30? Give it a couple of years.
She's remarkably blessed, but no, she's more concerned with issues, but she has osteopenia, and she, just general fatigue and those kinds of things associated with aging. And you were talking about how quickly the results happened with the children in the autism ADHD studies, and my response to her was, well, it takes your body about 90 days to regenerate its blood, so I would say give it 3 months.
Yeah.
But would it be quicker?
And it takes a year to regenerate bones in terms of osteopenia. I don't know. I don't know how long it's, and depends on what she's looking for, but I can tell you my own experience, just in taking deep green. I used to wake up, because I do a lot of exercise, weightlifting and a lot of exercise, and I used to wake up like, stiff and sore, and I was just, my back and neck and everything was sore, and within a couple of months of taking deep green, because it's only a relatively new product, I forgot that I used to wake up sore, because now I don't. So, and that I can only imagine that was, acid buildup in my body. So it took a couple of months for me to notice, in terms of energy, I don't know, because I take them all every day. So, and I have a pretty intense schedule, and I've had, a couple of hours sleep this morning once I got to Lacey's, and I'm just chugging it down, and it's keeping me, like, while I'm traveling, it's a godsend. The Vitality Pack keeps me going and keeps me focused and active and, concentrating. But I don't know how long it's going to take and what she's looking for, but, I would imagine that she will definitely, like, within a month, she's going to feel better. But we have a chiropractor in Winnipeg who's actually doing a marketing, because we're in the process of, in the month of August, we've just told everyone, submit some ideas and we will support you. And she said she wanted to do like a week, give away the Vitality products for a week, like 7 days worth, give them away, like put them in little Ziploc bags and do a free week trial for all of her clients. So we're providing the product for free for her, and she's going to do just a self-assessment, a health self-assessment before and after. So I'm really, really excited to find out, if they notice something within a week on this, health assessment questionnaire. So she's going to do it up, and it's going to happen in the next few weeks. So I'm really keen to get onto Skype with her, and when I get home, and find out, how it was. But in terms of, so there's that week, finding out if, they notice within a week. But the clinical trial that I mentioned before, which was the live blood analysis using our staff as our guinea pigs, it was Enliven and Berry Radical, or was it Enliven and Deep Green? Gosh, it was a couple of years ago. So it must be Enliven and Berry Radical. And that was done over 12 weeks, looking at the live blood analysis. And the naturopath who did it said it was incredible, the difference in the blood in that 12-week period, and people felt better. So it was like a 600 questionnaire that our staff had to fill out before and after, and his physical, every 2 weeks he came in and tested their blood, and he said, in his words, that the results were astounding in terms of how much it cleaned up the blood and helped.
Do you have that study on the my community, or?
We have the big document that he put together. It's on my to-do list of, you know, pricing it, you know, to concentrate it down into a 1 or 2 page document overview. I haven't done that yet, but it's on my list. Maybe I'll have to just give it to someone else to do. But yeah, because the document that he put together is like really intense sort of scientific details for every single subject, every person. So, and it's pretty heavy reading. So yeah, it's been on my to-do list for a while, and I just keep avoiding it because it's a big job. But yeah, in his words, it was. But we do have the video when he came and gave the report to all the staff. We videoed that, and I think that's about half an hour. So maybe we can put that up just in the my account area, so you can just watch what he says in lieu of having a document. That's probably a good idea. I'll do that. Thank you.
Can I also ask a question about my use of the Berry Radical? Because I really feel like I'm doing it an injustice. I had originally intended to wean myself off of coffee and have Berry Radical in the morning instead, but it really didn't work out so well because I'm just too much in love with coffee. So I started putting my scoop of Berry Radical in my coffee in the morning.
I do that.
Okay.
Yep, that's fine. And it's like it's super yummy because it's coffee and chocolate. Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yay.
Yeah. That's fine.
I've got a question. I just recently started doing some research on different ways to detox the metals from your system.
Yep.
And I've read a lot about how certain ways of detoxing doesn't cross over the blood-brain barrier. And I was wondering if with deep green, if it does, if it pulls the metals from everywhere. Out of the brain.
So you're talking about pulling out? I don't know. I don't know. It's all right. This is cool. This is all good stuff. It's what if you guys want to know it, I will find out.
The more we know, the more we don't know, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know chlorella specifically, in terms of detoxing, chlorella eliminates mercury, but whether it comes out of the brain, I was just saying chlorella is a mercury detoxer in the deep green. I don't know about the brain, mercury in the brain. I don't know. I'll find out. If the information is out there, I will find it.
Yeah.
And we can find that information
when you consider the dramatic impact that it has on children with autism and ADHD, which are, brain and neurological malfunctions. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you find that it does have a positive effect.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, within, my R&D assistant's son, within 2 weeks, noticed the teacher rang. I told you that already, didn't I? The teacher rang and said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it because he's just improved significantly in just the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. And that was just with the deep green?
Just with the deep green, yep.
Okay, guys, we're gonna, it's 5:04 now, so we're gonna wrap this, and why don't we plan, we'll start the next session at 4:15. To give everybody a 20-minute
get some
snack break,
food.
pocket break.